Hi. So today it's another live stream time. So I haven't done a live stream for a little while since my live stream where I talked to Josh Braun. Now that was a very good one. I highly recommend you go back on my channel or Facebook or whatever and look at the video that I did with Josh Braun of Equal Rights Institute because that was very good. That was a really good talk we had about all kinds of issues. Um, so so I want to start out this stream with an interesting story. So I went today and donated plasma at Octapharma Plasma. I got my Band-Aid here where I was pricked with the finger, and I got this. They took it plasma on my left arm. See, I used to donate plasma a lot. I used to do it once or twice a week, depending on how busy I was. And I was working a full-time job, so I wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be. But then when I had surgery in September, I went to go to donate plasma, and because I answered yes to about having surgery in the past 12 months, well then they asked me about that. They had to ask them what kind of surgery it was. And I explained all that to them. And so then they deferred me for 6 months. I don't know why. So they didn't let me donate plasma for 6 months after I had my orchiectomy. So that's interesting. So then a lot of stuff happened. I had the whole situation, the knee injury and resigning from that job because I couldn't do it anymore. Started working at Hy-Vee. But I tried to donate plasma back in May, but they couldn't get a fingerprint. They could not get a fingerprint out of any of my fingers that was recognizable to the machine as valid, which is weird. Now, so I tried again today. It's June 1st. I tried again today. But here's the thing is because it had been so long since the last time I had come, then I had to go through the whole process. And the new donor process, when you go to Octapharma Plasma and donate plasma, it takes a while. They make you read this book about blood and medications and sexually transmitted diseases and all kinds of weird stuff. You have to read the book, then you got to watch the new donor video. Then you have to have a physical. You have to get fingerprints taken. They get all your information, your address, phone number, all kinds of things you have to do when you're a new donor at Octapharma Plasma. So I'm sort of a pro because I used to do it a long time ago, and now they're treating me like a new donor, even though I'm someone who used to donate plasma regularly. So, but something interesting happened today with that so far, and that is that I had to answer all the questions on the kiosk. It asked you all these questions, okay? Like the machine asks you, "Oh, have you had a sexual contact with anyone in so past 4 months?" Whatever. Like when you donate plasma or you donate blood, they ask you everything. They ask you absolutely everything. They ask you about your sexual activity. They ask you if you have HIV or other sexually transmitted diseases, and usually it's just no to everything because I'm a virgin. Everyone knows I'm Chastity White Rose, the vegan virgin. So everyone knows that. But so I had to answer yes to two things. I answered yes that if I was on any prescription medication, and I answered yes to that. And I answered yes if I'd had surgery in the past 12 months. So because I answered yes to those questions, then when I had my physical, they had to ask me about those things. So I had to explain all over again to new people that yes, I had surgery. I had my testicles removed in September. I thought I was done talking about it, but they got to know everything at a plasma donating place. And then I had to tell them that I was on estradiol. And so they wanted to know about what that was for. And so I explained that first, it protects bone density, but I'm also transgender. So I'm taking estrogen instead of testosterone since my sex hormones are low. So I had to explain all of that at the plasma place and explain my whole orchiectomy and transgender identity. I just basically told them all everything because they got to know everything. But this is what's really funny is the reaction of the guy. he was just like, whoa, like this is new territory. And I said, hey, yeah, it's new territory for me too. But here's what was really funny is so they have a section in their system for transgender patients. They do, because being transgender is a common thing. But he didn't know whether to select that I was pre-op or post-op. I'm not entirely sure why they need to know that information for someone donating plasma. I'm not entirely sure what that means. So it's a tricky one because I told him that I consider myself post-op because pre-op assumes that there's an operation that I have yet to have. So I don't like the term pre-op. I'm post-op because I had an orchiectomy, but I had to explain to the guy that I didn't have gender reassignment surgery because I don't need a fake vagina. So I was explaining that to the poor employee at Octapharma Plasma all about that. And he was just like completely flipping out, like never met a person like me. So it's funny. So I had the most hilarious experience I ever had donating plasma. And it took me all day too to go through that process and answer all these questions and stuff. But at least I did get paid some for donating plasma today. So I'm glad about that. So that was a funny story. But now I want to get into the bulk of what my life has been like lately, because I haven't talked much about it, and I've been trying to talk my roommate into doing live streams with me. I've been trying so hard to talk my roommate into it, but you know how it is. Well, she just hides in the closet, talks to her friends. She's very popular, but I say she loosely. I'm used to saying she, and she's relaxed about pronouns, but they or them or there would be probably more appropriate because my roommate has come out as non-binary. I'm trying to invite them to do a live stream with me and talk about their non-binary identity. That's what I'm trying to do. But I still refer to my roommate as her a lot of the time, you know. But she's sort of relaxed about that. So I may use they or I may use she, you know. So I'm not going to talk too much about my roommate because I want to go over some things that I have learned about living with a roommate. But first, I must go over the rules of Stream Club. I have to do this on a live stream. It's interesting. The first rule of Stream Club is you can talk about anything in Stream Club. The second rule of Stream Club is you must ask questions. The third rule of Stream Club is you have to trust chastity. The fourth rule of Stream Club is be excellent to each other. The fifth rule of Stream Club is party on, dudes. And the sixth rule of Stream Club is don't move to Canada. I may have to invent a few new rules, or maybe not new Stream Club rules, but I may have to invent a few new rules about living with my roommate. Okay, so there are some interesting things. Now, don't get me wrong. I love living with my new roommate. It's very interesting, but there are a few things that are quite disturbing, like our fight over the thermostat. Okay, so she keeps turning the air conditioning down to like 65 or 70 and stuff like that, and I'm like, don't do that. I'm freezing. So then I wake up in the night and turn it up to 75 so it won't get it. Or sometimes I have to turn on the heat because I can't sleep if it's below 75. My body temperature drops, and so she's turning the air conditioning down. I'm turning up, and she gets up and turns it down. We have this fight over the thermostat. Now, the same thing used to happen when I lived with my mom. Okay, we used to have a temperature disagreement about who wanted it hot or cold, and that's one of the unfortunate things of living with a roommate. So I told her, please do not put that below 75 when I'm home because I can't deal with that level of cold. Now, she sleeps in the closet where it's warmer. That's why I used to sleep in the closet because it's warmer. It's the warmest part of the place. And she has a fan too to help keep it cool. But she goes too overboard too. Like it gets cool enough in here if it's 75. But I prefer our temperature range between 75 and 80. That's my preferred temperature range. So I try to tell her not to do that to the thermostat, but she forgets. And so I still keep having to change it. But aside from that, another thing that's interesting about living with a roommate is things are not where I put them, okay? Things are not where I put them. Les, when I lived alone entirely by myself, if something is wherever I put it, I may not remember where I put it, but it's where I put it. Not so after living with a roommate. Okay, so first of all, she washes the dishes and she's organized the food into the cabinets. I don't even know where the hell everything is. I don't even know where my food is. So half the time, I don't know where something I had is because my roommate moves it around while I'm at work. Oh, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious living with a roommate. So, but this is something very important too. So I have a tendency to leave the blinds closed. I leave the blinds closed almost all the time. For my bedroom window, as well as my blinds right next to me here, I leave them closed because I don't want people seeing in my apartment. And that's because, I normally living alone, I have a habit of just walking around naked. That's the thing that's changed too since living with a roommate. Because when I lived alone, I just walk around naked. I left all my blinds closed so that nobody sees me just going eating some food while naked. That's the thing. Is like when you live alone, you can do that. But when you live with a roommate, it's a little bit awkward walking around naked. But here's the thing: is my roommate was gone. Okay, my roommate was gone, and then I'm doing some stuff, and I'm walking around my apartment naked, and then I realize something. My roommate opened the blinds, and I'm like, oh crap. So if anybody had been there during that time, they could have just totally seen me naked because I did not notice that my roommate had opened the blinds in the living room as well as my bedroom. I'm like, so people could have easily seen me naked at that time. Now, but let's be real. If somebody did see me naked in my apartment while my roommate's out and I just got out of the shower, it's their problem because they looked inside my apartment, okay? But yeah, ordinarily I leave things closed so people don't see me naked. But when I have a roommate, I never know what's going to happen. So things are just sort of weird. I swear. Okay, this man, I'm definitely going to get my my roommate sometime to do a live stream. We're going to talk her into it, but. It's just very interesting living with another person who moves things around. It's very strange, But aside from that, she doesn't cause trouble. She just hides in the closet and talks to her friends, or works her job now. She got hired at the same Hy-Vee I work at. So I mean, we're doing good. We get along just fine. We watch movies together and stuff and all that good stuff. So it's good. I like living with her, but there's a few things I'm used to living alone, and it's like it's just weird. So having to adjust, and the thing is, it's different. It's different living with a roommate now than it was living with my mom because my mom is my mom. It's a whole different thing. Whereas my roommate is about the same age as me, and it is of a non-typical gender identity, just like I am too. So it's cool having a roommate. And I'm trying to remember who was I and what was I doing before I had her live with me now. And it's crazy. The good thing is she's going to help me with the expenses because she's working a job and she's going to help me with expenses, and she certainly helps by washing the dishes and cleaning the place. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate her so much for the things she does to help me out here. That's great, but I have a hard time focusing on what I'm doing because I can be distracted and I never know when she's going to come out and talk to me and say, hey, I'm going to the gas station, want to come with, which is cool. Sometimes I do. We go on walks together. We have a lot of fun, but it's just like, I'm not used to this. I'm used to living alone. And to tell you the truth, I like living alone. That's sort of my preference. But first, I like this experience. It's a learning experience, learning to live with a brand new person for the first time after living alone for a while. But I also like her financial help and help around this place. That's cool. So there are certainly benefits to having her stay with me. And in the future, I hope that she'll do a live stream and she'll tell more details about what she wants to say, if anything. But another thing I realized is that, I'm a very public person about myself and my own life, and yet I don't want to give details about my roommate that you wouldn't necessarily want shared with other people, because some people have private things to their life, but I do feel like I just want to share these little tidbits of knowledge I've gained since living with a roommate, because it's very different living with a roommate compared to living with living by myself, because living, yeah, it's very different. And those of you who have lived with roommates before, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Because you may have lived with your parents before. I lived with my mom before, but it's not the same thing. Living with Rose is not the same thing as living with my mom was. It's a whole different type of thing, because we're both adults. We both walk. We both do things together all the time. We enjoy the same movies, games. We're both vegan, which is great. I could not live with a vegan roommate. I really couldn't do that. It's important to have a vegan roommate, because if I was with a non-vegan roommate, well, then there would be an issue. I don't want to have animal products in my refrigerator, but that was why I even suggested the idea, because she needed a place to live, because she's back from Canada recently. So it's a great situation. So that's all I'll say for now about my roommate, and I'll let her introduce herself in the future, officially, in the future. But it's weird, because we live in a time where so many people come out of the closet, and then she goes into my closet. I'm not even sure how that happened. So it's funny. But yeah, I wanted to share that experience about what happened at the Plasma Place, and my little things I've learned about living with a roommate. It's strange. So I'm trying to focus on what I was doing. I watch movies, and I've been working on my writing. I published part 5 of my unicorn story recently, and I've been paying my bills online and that sort of thing. So I'm doing good. I mean, life is good. I'm pretty happy right now, but it's also been weird, because I go from living alone and working a full-time job to suddenly working part-time at Hy-Vee, and then having my friend move in with me for the time being. And it's a lot of changes, also, one thing that's interesting, see, I did start on 4 milligrams estradiol. I met with an endocrinologist, and I started on estrogen. And I gotta say, the best thing about it is I take my sublingual estradiol in the morning, and it wakes me up. It totally wakes me up. And so I woke up, and I didn't even drink my pop until like 6 in the evening. I usually have to have my pop to wake up, but estrogen sort of has an effect where it wakes me up. So that's nice. It just kind of filled me with energy, and it's cool. So I like the experience of that. So that's just basically to say that everything's pretty cool. Life is really good right now, and I hope it just continues to stay good. But you never know, what will life throw at me next. I don't really know. So it's an interesting experience. So I guess I'm going to end this live stream. That it was just sort of a quick update of what's going on with me lately. And if anybody is still listening, I highly encourage you to watch my recent live stream I did with Josh Braun, the Equal Rights Institute, because it was really good. He's a pro-life activist, and I followed him for years. He's one of the most respectful pro-life Christians I know. Because I'm not a Christian, everyone knows, but he is. But he's also pro-life about abortion, and so we talked about that. There's many things I agree with him on, obviously, because I'm pro-life too, which people misunderstand. So we had one of the best talks ever. We totally did. I had a talk with him. I had that talk with my sister Charity. I had that talk with Vegan Ariel. And there's so many videos of me talking to Kafo or Monique. I've done a lot of live streams. I really have. There's so many good video podcasts with people, and audio podcasts even before that. I've done so much. I have so much content out there. So there's a lot to listen to. But this is just sort of this video was just sort of a quick update on what's been going on with my new life living with my roommate. It's hilarious, I'll tell you. It's scary but exciting all at the same time. So we shall see what the future holds. I have no idea what's going to happen next. So until we meet again, remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.